All right, everybody. Hello, and welcome to this edition of Boss Cranky. I was going to say Boss Cranky's Coding Camp, but that's not right. Today, we're going to be doing a special episode that is the first of probably many that will come along. Boss Cranky Rants. Today, we're going to be talking about this back to the office movement that seems to be so popular with so many companies. Yeah, it's another one of those not coding things. I understand if you want to just click away. What the heck is driving this back to the office movement that so many companies are talking about now? Who knows, whether it's dollars, whether it's some other thing. We're going to explore some of those ideas. I must admit right off the bat that I'm somewhat biased because I've always thought work from home worked well for a lot of people. And now, it seems to have worked for 3 years for a lot of corporations. And now apparently it doesn't. You know what? We're just going to dive in and I'm going to start talking. Some of it's going to sound like BS. Some of it's going to sound reasonable. Let's just see where we land. Spoiler alert! Money is the least bad answer. Before we go into the whys and wherefores of back to the office, let's take a look at the work from home timeline over the years in our industry. That's software development. By the way, don't judge me on my PowerPoint skills. You know what? You can judge me if you want. I'm an engineer, not a friggin' PowerPoint guy. So I'm in PowerPoint maybe once a year, creating templates and presentations. Anyhow, I write code. So don't judge me on my PowerPoint. So as recently as 2015, more or less, we've heard work from home just doesn't work. It's not a thing we can do. Also, coincidentally, right around that 20-teens time frame, open floor plans become really popular. These crowded ass open floor plans only seem like a good idea to people that have their own offices. We're not working from home. Open floor plans have become popular. And then, 2020 came along. And we all know what happened there. Not a political statement. Things just happened. And it was right around this time that those flu-friendly open plans became COVID cubes. By 2021, we took a little different look at things and decided, hey, you know what? Work from home actually is really, really cool. It does work. As an aside, the technology to support work from home has existed since, the mid-90s. Anybody that ever heard the beep beep when they logged into their Roadrunner access knows that tech's been around for a while. By 2021, a lot of companies were doing the work from home thing and singing its praises. Fast forward a couple of years to our current time, and all of a sudden, work from home is horrible. Back to the office for everybody. Now, what changed there? The tech didn't change. Something did. This is where I get into speculation, a little bit of snarkasm, and possibly a little more ranty. Okay, so we've kind of talked about how we got where we are. There are actually some good reasons for going back to the office, or in some cases, just working in the office in general. For example, it helps build a sense of team and community. It allows you to get to know your team and the important players in your organization. Another good reason is that sometimes people just need to learn the ropes and get the reps. Some people coming straight out of college are coming straight into their first job ever, and they just don't know what that means. Me personally, I've been working since I was like 16, so I can't imagine that, but it does happen, right? And that might be a good reason for having somebody come into the office at least for a while. Additionally, some jobs just require you to be on site. If part of your job is to sneaker net a replacement hard drive into a rack slot somewhere, you're not going to be able to do that from home. It's also possible that your business or industry has specialized or proprietary hardware that you just don't want getting out into the wild. I personally know of some hardware that has been missing since the mid-1990s. And finally, just as an example, sometimes your living conditions just don't support a good work from home environment. Maybe you've got cranky in-laws that live with you, or maybe your significant other runs a wildcat rescue right out of your home. Even in those circumstances, it really ought to be up to the employee to determine, can I work from home or is it just not the right environment? And this feeds into some of the bad reasons for going back to the office or requiring us to go back to the office. We'll get into those next. So we've talked about the good reasons for bringing people back into the office. It's not an exhaustive list, and neither will be this second list that we look at, but it's the things that come to me right off the top of my head. We talked about the good reasons. What are the bad reasons for back to the office? Well, in my opinion, The absolute number one bad reason for bringing people back into the office is because you don't trust your people. That's a problem for a lot of reasons, because what it really means is if you don't trust your people, that means you don't trust your hiring processes, which means ultimately you don't trust your company. Bottom line, you don't trust your own judgment. As a manager, director, VP, whatever, you do not trust your own judgment. That's a huge problem. And that goes above and beyond, some decision arbitrarily made about, do I bring people back into the office? Fix this issue, period. Fix this issue before you move forward. You cannot pass go. You cannot achieve success if you don't have trust within your team. Another bad reason for bringing people back into the office, and sadly, this may be the one that actually is the real reason, is that some goober sitting in an office somewhere read an article that said, it's time to bring people back into the office. Again, that's arbitrary. It requires no thought, no processing. Listen, managers, directors, VPs, the same criticism I gave to the people that are screwing up work from home for everybody else, I give to you. Bring your A game. Think about what you're doing. Think about what you're asking your people to do. Quit slacking. Another pragmatically bad reason for back to the office is that you limit your talent pool. What happens if the person that you find that is perfect for your job lives 1,000 miles away and just won't relocate? Are you going to pass on that person just because they are distant to you, or what? What's the deal there? Again, all these things are arbitrary, at least in my mind, as to why you would say no to a candidate because they don't want to relocate and be in close proximity to your office.
Come on now. You got to get over yourself. Your company ain't that dang special.
I don't even know how to proceed if you can't fix these issues. Listen, if your company is big enough where you don't have to worry about these things, that's awesome. Most are not. So with all that said, what are the fixes? Bottom line, if I knew all the answers to that, I'd probably be making about 5 times what I am now. But I don't, so I'm going to keep it simple. What I would say is you want to do the things that we've identified as good things. Should be pretty straightforward, commonsensical. Conversely, you don't want to do the bad things. So just stop being stupid is really what it comes down to. This was my first ranty episode, first dedicated ranty episode. We'll get back to coding in our next and future episodes. And listen, I'm no business consultant expert, so, take all that with a grain of salt. I'll see you on the flip side, y'all.
Listen, don't let Boss Cranky try to tell you how to run your business. I will say that you ought to respect your people a little more. What's that now? 4 days a week in the office. I don't know about that. Oh, hang on. My little friend is here. They got something to say on that subject. Hang on just a second. All right, so what you're saying is 4 days a week in the office?